Hi, I'm Tess Howard MBE. I am an Olympic hockey player for Great Britain and I am founder of Inclusive Sportswear. First things first, my mum works in conservation sustainability, so it's been drilled into me that you have to make action. She's always been someone that's done things that she thinks are right, and probably to the detriment of her children, because we've sort of got that now. But the story that I'd tell is I was just joined my secondary school, so I'm 13, and I realised that we don't have recycling bins. I'm like, why don't we have recycling bins in all of our classrooms? So I go to the head teacher and I ask why, and he's like, oh well, we don't have recycling bins because we don't recycle the items separately. So I was like, well, I think we should have recycling bins. So we ordered recycling bins, and then a few months later, I'm after school and I'm watching the cleaners put the recycling bins items into the normal bin. And I'm like, well, that's not right. So I go back to the head teacher and I'm like, they're not actually separating it out. He's like, well, it's not their job to separate it out. So then I organised a group of my friends every Friday lunchtime to go and collect all of the paper within all of those bins and created the green team at school, which was a very uncool thing to do at the time. And now at the Purse, it is a massive big deal to be part of the green team, and they have like a whole, system set up for sustainability. But at the time, it was really bizarre, and my friends would sometimes hide from me at lunchtime because they knew I was going to drag them to go and collect all the paper. But that's a longish story, but I mean, that's kind of where I was at as a youngster. Was just like, I think I saw something that needed to change, and my thing has always been logic and empathy. Sometimes people think I'm just ridiculously passionate and I'll just go after something, but there's a lot of logic and empathy behind it. So when I did my research, it was logical that this change had to be made. And then the empathy comes when you read everybody's stories about how they feel. So if I pair those two together, I think that's what's really driven me to make those changes. But I mean, if you ask me where does it come from, like, I think it's just got to come from my mum.
Bye.
I have to be honest, when I was really young, because I wasn't treated any differently to my brothers, I didn't see discrimination to women. I guess it's different. I mean, I played rugby until I was 11, and then we didn't have a girls rugby team and I was not a boy, so I couldn't play. And I don't think I really realised that was because I was a girl. My mum just took me to hockey training. It's only much older that I'm like, that's probably not right. But when I had my aha moment was actually just reading history. We'd never learnt about women's history at school until we did Women in Medicine in GCSE. And then we were talking about the suffragette movement. And I suddenly was like, wait, hang on, has it not always been this way? And I think a lot of girls, it's great that a lot of girls don't know it, but we don't realise that it was 100 years ago that we got the vote, and women had to fight, starve themselves, had to die in some cases to make this known. And then I sort of had this moment where I was like, I have to learn everything about this. And then I looked at sport, obviously, learnt the history of that, because again, wherever you are in time, you feel like that's what it's always been, but you forget that every single step of the way, there's had to be women who stand up for what they believe in, and the men that ally them. So the key moment for me was when I read about Gloria Steinem and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And that was, it's funny because I feel like their story is within me, and I feel, even though they're American, I feel really, really connected to what they did. And that's why they are some of the women that I think about on a daily basis, because what they had to fight for and what they continue to fight for, Gloria Steinem's still alive and she's still campaigning for equal rights. I think it's something that all women probably feel united in, but some of us feel maybe connected to progressing the movement further than others perhaps. But I do feel like the beautiful saying, I stand on the shoulders of the women who came before me. I feel that, and I want the young girls to stand on the shoulders of me.
Well.
So it started when I was actually walking nearby here, and I thought, wait, hang on. Why are we all wearing skirts to play matches when we train in shorts every day? It was literally an aha moment. And then I thought back to how uncomfortable I had felt at school and wondering why. Because I had internalized that it was my fault. And a lot of my teammates and friends had dropped out of sport, and they internalized that it was their fault. It became this girl issue. But I did the research, and I realized that it wasn't a girl issue. It's an issue with sports kit policy. It's an issue with choice. And if we're not allowed to wear something that makes us feel comfortable, then that's discrimination. So I went to look at school uniforms in detail, looked at gendered school sport uniforms, and also looked at the policies, because my hero, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, went into, this is my mouse mat, which is ridiculous, but she looks at me every day. She looked at the law. And so I wanted to look at the law. The Equality Act says that you must not discriminate based on sex. But in the school uniform section 2.17, it says that differences between girls and boys' uniforms are standard and will not be considered discriminatory. That is still there. You can go and look it up in the school's guidance. How does that equate if we have the amount of dropout rates we do because of sports kit? So only 1 in 4 of teenage girls feel comfortable and confident in their kit. That's from the recent Youth Sport Trust survey. 1 in 4. But that's not considered discriminatory. So I was just sat there like, hell, this needs to change. And then I looked at my own sport and realized how uncomfortable I was. And I thought, well, there's no way I can advocate for change in schools if my sport still looks like this. Then we did a little we chatted about it in our team, and it realized that, well, actually we all do train in shorts, and some of us probably would feel more comfortable wearing shorts to play. And then it doesn't have to be a big deal. I mean, it's International Women's Day, it doesn't have to be a feminist thing to want to wear shorts. But because of the gendered traditions, it is. So we scrapped the fact that it was feminist, and we just said, actually, I just want to be comfortable. And that's what the movement has evolved to. It's simply about choice, because if you don't have choice, you don't have equality, and that's basically the bottom line. Hockey has 2 things to further the shorts movement. One is to create more and better shorts as an option, because you need to have the confidence to choose either shorts and skirts and not feel at a disadvantage or like you're standing out. So the clubs that have progressed the furthest already over the last year or so have been the ones that have a good second option to a skirt. And then it doesn't become a second option, it becomes a genuine choice of what you can wear. And so when we look at the junior sections, they're not really thinking that wearing shorts is any different to wearing skirts. They just see it on their kit list. And that's where we have to move to. The other thing is creating the education about why it is so important to give young people a choice, and everybody, to be honest. And that's something that I think England Hockey and my organisation, Inclusive Sportswear, can work hard to do, and other brands like Gray's, working to create that awareness. Because if we don't understand that there is a direct link between comfort in uniform and are they going to play hockey, if we don't understand that link, then we're going to lose people. And one other thing that I would say is that we want to make hockey as inclusive as possible for demographics, for socioeconomic background, for area of the country. And significant thing that we don't really talk about is that the score is directly from private schools. So how are we supposed to change the image of our game if when somebody flips on the TV or Channel 4 YouTube, they don't see who they need? But what we've seen is that the change has made a massive difference to those clubs being able to be confident, to have shorts on their kit list because they see the women's team doing that, and that's something that I'm so proud of. And I think the Premier League has a big impact to play in that. And then as you go further down, I just get inundated with messages from 60-year-old women or mums of 10-year-old girls who talk about their experiences, and those are sort of the lived experiences of why it matters, and I think we need to tap into that.
Awesome. And I can see you're representing grey shorts over there. You're happy to be endorsing them, and we've got a future project lined up for some more short development.
Yes, what do you think? Well, I genuinely, I was so happy when Grays brought out these shorts, so much so that I did a reel to Taylor Swift. I think what I love about these shorts is that they don't ride up, which is a major thing, and they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I think that's something that we need to appreciate about shorts, is that it's not rocket science, but if you get it right, you can be really comfortable. I like that they mirror the design of the skort, and I think that's something that we can work on. I'm really excited to be developing the new shorts range, and I think we can do something that will help transform the game for so many people. Yes, well, this is genuinely from my desk at home. So I'll start with the obvious at the top. Taylor Swift. For those who don't know, I'm a massive Swiftie. Some people do know if they're teammates with me and friends with me, but it's a genuine connection to creativity and being yourself. And I think something that, I'm not saying that I'm like Taylor Swift in any way, I can't sing, but I really admire how she has come back from her setbacks, and I really love that she just is herself, and that's something that I connect to, and that's why she's on my desk, because it inspires me. My other inspiring woman is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG. And if you get a zoom in on that, that is a terrifying face. That is a terrifying face. And that's my mouse mat, and every morning, every day I look at that and she's asking me, what are you doing for the feminist movement, Tess? It's a pretty scary face, but I got that when I was out in New York, in Washington with my dad. We went to go and pay homage to her, something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I weeped at her at her memorial whilst my dad was weeping for JFK on the aside one, but she's there asking me, what have you done today to improve the feminist movement? And then this final one is from my desk, is my mum and my dad and my brother. Sorry, my little brother wasn't born then, so sorry, Johnny. But I have this on because, well, it reminds me perspective, my family, but particularly my mum, who has always championed to do what she thinks is right and to do it with logic and empathy. So that's just a little insight into my desk and my mind.
I love that.
I think the biggest change I see is that women are holding fort, and they're not going anywhere. And I think what I love to see is that female athletes have become celebrities, and I'm thinking of some of the lionesses, thinking of some of the female tennis players and rugby players like Ilona Marsh, Shauna Brown, who have taken the world by storm. And what I'm really excited about is that female athletes have this ability to cross all sectors, and that's what the power is, because we're not just saying play our sport. We're not here to advocate for hockey, even though it'd be great. We're here to inspire general activity and general self-belief, and that's something that I do think female athletes have a unique ability to do, and they can help so much of society, and so that's the power. There's so much that women face, and things like female athletes championing what sports bra they wear, or what they're doing in this part of their menstrual cycle. Breaking down taboos is something that is in the DNA of all of female athletes. And what I hope to see is that these things don't become, she's being really trailblazing by saying period. Like, that's not actually that trailblazing. We all say it to ourselves, so why is it bad to say it in the media? What I like to see is that these things become the new norm, and then we move on. I always think with Sportskit, for example, like I think my slogan should literally be, let's solve this and move on with our lives, because there's more things to do. I guess because it's accelerating change, if that's the theme, we want to think about the things that will help in 5 years' time. And so I'm thinking about what can 2025 do that will matter in the future. And so there are things that can be put in place, like good quality Sportskit policy and creating items, putting in the lead times ready for those, that will have a big impact. There's stuff that can be done ready for tournaments coming. So the Women's Cricket World Cup is being held next year. Things that can be put in place now to help amplify those. I think when you get the non-playing part of society involved with your sport, that's when we see women's sport rise. So the Lionesses, England Cricket, England Netball have somehow, England Rugby, have somehow tapped into a market that is just interested in watching England win. And I think that's something that will really help, well, English pride, British pride, when we connect to those sports. You saw it in the Olympics. There's a massive, this doesn't matter if we win a gold, men's or women's, we're winning a gold. So I think when we elevate those events matter, because then you see the power it has. So I would say events, and I would say putting those things in place that should be there at the start. So Sportskit policy or social media support, those things that should just be there to allow the rest of it to thrive.
Yeah, so in 5 years' time, we've got more female athletes that are household names. People can say, yeah, I watched her play at the Rugby World Cup front end.
Yeah, I'm thinking of those events that you're like, what should we do this Sunday? Or what should we do Tuesday night? Like people who can access events at a good time to help them enjoy their life and be inspired. I think when you go to I've been to watch Arsenal, Chelsea women, and I felt inspired watching them, and I was really happy to be there. It was a good, friendly crowd, and I wanted to go back. It didn't feel like something that I was scared to go to, which had been in the past if I went with my little brother to watch a game. So yeah, it's those inclusive events, and then you're like, oh, let's go and watch them. That's sort of something that we can do as an event. It's not like, go and support women because the women need you. It's like, actually, that'd be a great day out.